Three, two, one, roll the footage. Welcome back, everybody, to the Strategy Sprints podcast. I'm your host, Severino, and today my guest has been helping people immigrate and settle since 1995. He is the regional director at Investment Migration Council, and he's also managing director for the Americas and the Caribbean at Latitude. Welcome, everybody, Chris Willis.
Hi, Simon. Thanks for having me on the show today.
So excited because we will deep dive into how to create a market where one doesn't exist. And this is particularly relevant in the pandemic year. So before we go there, what are you currently creating?
Well, what we're creating is really awareness, and this ties into our theme today about creating a market, is making people aware that the option of having an alternative residency or citizenship is fast becoming a necessity for many people. And so, when we look at these programs, it's something that people didn't realize maybe existed, or that they would be eligible for, or that the level of investment was maybe not as high as they had first considered.
So tell us, what are we missing? What is out there and we don't know it, we don't think about it?
Yeah, well, if you look at the United States, for example, they've had a real difficult time with COVID, and this has led to many travel bans. And your average American isn't used to having their freedoms detracted on. They're used to being able to travel the world, not worry too much about visas and such like. But because of the pandemic, their wings have really been clipped. They can't even get to Canada. The Canada-US border, one of the most fluid in the world, has been closed for months. Same getting access to the European Union, getting access to Asia. So for many people in the United States, they're saying, well, look, I need to know that I can enhance my mobility and enhance my freedoms by having a second option. And this second option could be a second residence or citizenship. So they start looking at different options. I'll give you an example. So you have the small Caribbean country called St. Kitts and Nevis, population of 50,000, one of the smallest countries in the Western Hemisphere. With that citizenship, you can travel to 157 odd countries around the world. But in the United States now, as a result of the travel bans, they can only get to about 70. So, this tiny country actually gives you more global mobility than the almighty US passport, which is a real interesting reflection of how everything has changed as it relates to travel around the world. Obviously, this isn't permanent. The US will eventually come out of it and will be able to travel again. But it just shows that, if you have this alternative residence or citizenship, you've got more options, when it comes to travel. Some people are also looking at it from the perspective of health. They're saying, well, look, if I'm not happy in where I am in the US or in Europe or wherever it may be, I'm quite happy to go and spend 6 months, 9 months on an island in the Caribbean. That's very safe. It handled COVID very well. I've got good communications. My kids can study remotely. I can work remotely, but I have the peace of mind knowing that I've got somewhere to go to where I can still enjoy a decent quality of life and still be able to manage my business.
I'm so curious, who do you pick for the Strategy Award? But first, one word from our sponsors.
Hey, if you love what you are hearing, you will love our free masterclasses. Go grab them at strategysprints.com.
So you can pick only one person when everybody's zigging, this person is zagging. Who is this person?
Well, the person I'm going to put forward is known to many people, but in a different capacity. And this is Bear Grylls, who people know as an adventurer and television host. And him and his co-founder Paul Gurney established a firm called Becoming X. And what this is it it helps people understand, what it takes to succeed and to help build confidence. So, whether you're a successful athlete, entertainer, business person, you still would have suffered, bouts of lack of confidence, of uncertainty and such, and it's how they overcame those to actually go forward and achieve the success that they did. And so it's putting together digital solutions of giving personal development programs to schools and colleges and such like. And it's really taking it to another level and bringing in personal experiences from successful people, but also average people who have really gone through significant adversity and managed to turn their life around and give some real life examples. So it's launching. It's coming out soon. It's a different direction than he usually goes down or what he's known for. And so I think it's going to be very interesting.
Cool. What are the 3 books that shaped you most?
Well, as I said, I'm a big believer in people, and I'm very interested in how people have developed. So it's very much autobiographies that have been important for me. I lived for many years in Africa, and so Nelson Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom is an important one, just because, again, it shows all the adversity in his journey and everything, where he came out the other end, which, as I know for many people, is quite an inspirational book and an inspirational story. The second is it's called The Game, and it's by Ken Dryden, who is an ice hockey goalie for the Montreal Canadiens. I'm a big hockey fan, and grew up watching the dynasty team of the Canadiens, and it gives obviously his perspective of some of the key players as this team established its dynasty. But he's a real interesting guy, because not only was he a professional athlete, one of the most successful goalies, winning 7 Stanley Cups. He also, took a year out of his playing career to finish articling so he could qualify as a lawyer, went on to become a lawyer, went on to be the president of a hockey club, and then became a federal politician. So again, it just shows the amazing things people can do, and not just pigeonhole themselves into one aspect of, I'm an athlete, I'm an entertainer, I'm this. He was able to go over all these different spheres, and he's quite a phenomenal man. And the third, technically maybe not a book, but it's a cartoon strip called Calvin and Hobbes, which is from Bill Watterson, who's, it's the story of a 6-year-old boy and his pet tiger. And what it does, it just gives some amazing simplicity and honesty of, from the perspective of a young boy, which I think, we have such complicated lives. It's quite nice to have to be grounded on some of these more important things in life.
Absolutely. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, so I will check it out with them. Cool.
Okay, yeah, definitely. It's worth looking at. Some phenomenal quotes and just perspectives of the way it's put out is really, really good.
Beautiful. And tell us more about the people who work with you. Who should work with you, and where can you bring them?
Well, the people we work with a variety of different people, from, individuals who are looking to have this plan B. I mean, we actually look at residence and citizenship almost as a non-traditional insurance policy. And, many people also look at divesting their wealth into real estate. In many cases, you can actually purchase real estate in one of these jurisdictions and use that purchase to qualify for economic citizenship. So you actually get a 2-for-1 bonus, if you like. And especially in the US, there's a big familiarity with the Caribbean. So people are used to either going there to visit or on a boat, for example. And so they could actually purchase a property for lifestyle and then benefit from the second citizenship. Because one of the interesting things that came out with COVID was that even if you owned a property, let's say on one of these islands, unless you had proper status, such as being a citizen, they wouldn't let you in. So the borders were closed. So again, it's just giving you that extra protection if you are looking to go and spend some time on that island. But, whether it's individuals, whether it's, wealth managers, family offices, business people who are looking to divest their assets, anyone with that type of background who's looking at these programs can certainly contact us. And it's important to note it is investment programs. So, many people around the world who we represent, start their lives at an immediate disadvantage purely based on their country of birth, right? So you look at people, whether you're from Pakistan, Lebanon, South Africa, many parts of the world, their citizenship doesn't give them much freedom when it comes to traveling without a visa. And so that tends to be, very often an important segment of our market. But as we're talking about the United States and that sort of reality check that they've had because of COVID and having their travel freedoms taken away, that market has shifted, and we're seeing an enormous amount of increase from the United States and from Western Europe. You look what's happening in the United Kingdom with Brexit, their access to Europe, that's now been hampered. So many are looking at some of the European options as British citizens. So it's really just opening the world for those who are able to participate.
Geography can be a limit, but it doesn't need to be. Beautiful. And what is one thing that you learned in this pandemic year?
Well, without a doubt, it's changing my perspective as it relates to technology. Maybe I'm a bit more old school, in terms of how I would conduct my business, that I'm a big believer in personal connections, meeting people and establishing those relationships. But, many people were nervous about, can we do business remotely? Can we use all these webinars for marketing? Can we do business, on a Zoom call, for example? And, the fact that we were essentially forced into it as opposed to just testing it at our own free will, it reinforced the point that technology can work. And so I tease our marketing guy who's a big believer in all of this. And so he's been able to convince me on that as well. That newer generation who were very much, tapped into the digital world. So we found that's been definitely one of the things that's changed my perspective is, how do we connect, maintain business, maintain relationships, A, with it using the benefit of technology, but B, as a consequence of the pandemic.
Who should be my next guest?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned, I'm a big sports guy, and I think someone who would be phenomenal if he could get him would be Sir Alex Ferguson, who was the the former manager at Manchester United. He does a lot of, since he's retired, he's been doing a lot of talking about motivation and getting the best out of people. And so whether that's from a performance on the sports field or performance in other areas, whether it's business, whether it's personal, just the impact that he had on the sport and on the athletes that he coached, I think is phenomenal. So, I would definitely put him forward as a worthwhile person to speak to.
Is there anything I forgot to ask you?
Well, no, I think it's been a fun conversation, and it's really just me being able to say these opportunities exist for people who are looking to enhance their freedoms, whether it's from the United States or from Europe or any other part of the world. Because the need to have a second residence or citizenship is fast becoming a necessity, another tool in the toolbox, if you like. And so, more than happy to speak to anybody who's looking to get more information on that and seeing how they can enhance their freedoms. Where
should people go? Is there a specific URL or social media?
Yeah, the best place is our website, which is latitudeworld.com. And on there, all my contact details are there. My email is christopher.willis@latitudeworld.com. There's a lot of collateral information on the website, and then we always find a customized solution for people who are interested. So we would have a consultation, figure out exactly what the needs and requirements are of the client, and then we can help them find a solution.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being on the show. Come back soon, Chris.
Thanks, Jamal. Thanks. Stay safe, keep well, and we'll see you again.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye for now.
Avoid trying to do thousands of things that doesn't work. We have 274 templates for your business success. Reach your ambitious goals with one-on-one sprint coach. We double your revenue in 90 days.